Okay. I think I got the audio. Holy cow. Okay, well, I learned my lesson. I have to go through the encoder, so even though the events sync, it doesn't mean that the live stream is going to go through, and I should restart my computer like twice before starting this. Okay. You got it now? Okay. Oh my gosh. That took way too much out of me. It's already 6:40. Well, how is everyone doing? Because there's such a huge lag, I have to like wait for so long to see what you guys say. Okay, how is everyone doing? Good morning, Musaraf. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Hey everyone. Hope everyone's doing okay. Oh, Olivia, I did get your email. I'm sorry, I got back from work or from teaching like 30 minutes. Well, obviously. So like at 5:30. So, 8:42 where you're at. Okay. Hey guys. Everyone here. Okay. It's frozen in Colorado, Liz. Yeah. It's been really cold. I have collected 10 gallons of rainwater in the past 2 days off my fire escape. Like, that's crazy. I hope that this ends the San Francisco drought. So, yeah, all my licorice gouramis are happy. I've been doing water changes even on the fish that don't need it. Raymark, I am originally from the Philippines. So, way in the provinces, Balanga City, Bataan, and then I grew up until I was 3 in Subic Bay Naval Air Base, and then Mount Pinatubo erupted, and then we got airlifted over here. So that's how I got to the U.S. Mackenzie, awesome! Day 2 of free swimming. That's great. Oh, it's hard to get that far. That's awesome. Thanks, Evolution. Okay. Oh my goodness, that's a lot of numbers. What's your zodiac sign? Well, it's not that I really put much stock in it, but I guess I'm a Scorpio. So, oh man, raining and cold here too. You know, I don't know what the pH of rainwater is. I should check it. I always add a ton of Indian almond leaves for my licorice gouramis to get the pH down past 4. I do know that one, but I should probably test it first. The test kit that I used to um, the test kit that I used to check the pH of the rainwater the first time I did rainwater is now expired. I got it from Germany 3 years ago, and I haven't found one that has such a low range for a while. So I did get a pH pen, but I haven't calibrated it yet because I always forget to get DI water. So that's the long version of why I don't know the rainwater's pH. That's terrible, isn't it? Let's see. Uh, yeah, I don't know what the pH of the rainwater is. The KH and GH is basically 0, which I love and all my fish love because I only breed softwater fish. And I like it because it doesn't have the crazy chloramines that San Francisco water does. I think Professor M, I think was his username. Not sure if he's here, but he was hypothesizing that my Daphnia were not working very well in my tap water because of the chemicals. So even if I treat it, it's the residue, some kind of thing is still there probably. Oh wow, lots of questions. So, okay, the way I wanted to start this stream was to do like to go to my video that I posted about the practice, the CTPK practice. I loved all of the opinions and all of the analyses that everyone was coming out with. I loved it. Those are the kinds of conversations that we need. Okay, so I'm gonna hold off on all these wonderful questions. I'll hold off. If we have time, I'm limited by the time my boyfriend comes home. I've been kind of ignoring him this week because I've been so busy teaching. Anyway, so I'm going to hold off on all the other questions, and I'm going to play the video clip and try and figure out how to start and pause it. But I'm going to do my own analyses and rundown, and also talk about the ones that we got in the YouTube, on the Facebook group, that kind of stuff, okay? So, is that good? We'll get back to all these questions if we have time. This just tells me that I should do more live streams, I guess. So anyway, I'm gonna try and get the video to work, and I'm gonna talk about what I think the fish look like to me as a breeder, and then I'm gonna put the fish in tonight. So, my choice. I'm waiting for some feedback. Wow, this is so okay. Kindergarten. No, I actually teach high school. So, yeah, I love my high school students. I used to teach undergraduates medical microbiology. Now I teach. I'm currently student teaching 9th grade biology and physiology with juniors and seniors. So, they are a riot. They're a blast. I love my students. So, okay. I'm gonna try and get this to work. I don't even know if I can start and stop this thing. We'll see. It seems really finicky, like I don't... Okay. Let's see. Oh, no, not the build. No. Okay. I got the stream there. Okay. Oh, crap. I don't know how to start and stop this. This is ridiculous. How does it not have a start and a stop? This is absolutely crap. Delete shot, duplicate shot, rename shot, edit shot, keyboard shortcut. Template, audio, the source. This is crap. Wow. This is utter. I'm sorry, guys. I can't start and stop my own video. Okay. I guess we'll go back here. Maybe I should look into getting a different thing. Okay. We'll try this. So again, holding off on the questions, I'm just going to go and look at my fish the way I'm looking at it. Okay, so I'm just going to work with what I got. Sorry, this is the worst encoder. I'm going to try and get a better one. I've never been this frustrated by a piece of technology. Okay. Just breathe. All right, so what? No, go back to the beginning. What? I guess... What? What? Okay, I guess I'll. All right, okay. What? Why did it start in the middle? Why did it start in the middle? No, can't use the space bar. Okay, I'm about done with this thing. Cut? No. No, I don't. There literally is no way to manipulate the video. Even whenever I deleted the shot and put it back in, it started where it. Okay, Bob, what encoder do you use? Because you can do some crazy cool stuff, and it seems like yours is not as. This is so. Okay, okay. Let me see if I. Well, no. Hence a faction. I want to like pause it so that I can talk about like the profile of the fish, and then yeah, just talk about the profile of the fish, things like that. There is not a progress bar. There is nothing on the bottom of this thing. It just like literally once I start it, I can't stop it, and then I can't even manipulate it after that. Okay. Is that free? Is OBS free? Maybe I'll try that on another day. Because I love this hobby, but, you know, I'm kind of cheap. I will admit. Yeah, there's no pause at all. Hmm. Yeah, what is OBS? obsproject.com. Really? Okay, well, I won't do it tonight, but I'll try it again another day, maybe this weekend, who knows. Try just button mash. That's how I used to play. Oh, what are those good games whenever that you used to play like Soul Calibur and stuff? Just button mash and you get some cool combo and maybe it works. And okay, I'm tempted, but then I don't know what'll happen to my to my stream. Okay, so I'm gonna start it and I'm gonna talk really quickly and just go back to my face, which is not ideal. Um, okay, all right. Wait, hold on. obsproject.com. I'm going to type it in now so I can look at it later. OBS project, open broadcast. Okay, I will look at that later. All right, so let us open this ridiculous file. And I'm going to talk really quick, I guess. Oh my goodness, and it opens in the middle, honestly. All right. This is I'm trying not to swear here, honestly. You know how hard that is when you teach high school students? And sometimes I can't help it. I just start laughing at because they're so ridiculous and funny people. And it's just like it is so hard not to just bust out swearing at things. But anyway, um uh I don't know how to make it go back to the front. Even when I remove it from the entire Wirecast thing and put it back, it goes to the back. Maybe it'll run out at some point. There's no progress bar. I don't know how long this thing's going. That's mail 4, I think. Oh, hey, there's the ending. Okay, that was me. Okay, quickly. So this is an ideal crown tail plakat male. So plakat means short fin. And okay, here's the female. Take a quick look at her, I guess. Okay, all right. So that female, the reason why I really like her, and clearly the best out of the entire spawn, is her really, really smooth top line. And what I mean by top line is that kind of from the tip of her nose to the base of her tail is just a pretty smooth bow. And with females, you want to have, it's funny, we call it like, so one of the really famous breeders of the IBC takes her female Bettas, takes a picture of them from the front and then photoshops little bras on them. So when a female is ready to breed and they're in really good condition, they're kind of busty. Like they have a lot of eggs in there. And it's hilarious. So anyway, she's got some bust, but it's not super pronounced. She's not egg bound. She's not really, really full. So you want a female that's got like just a really nice smooth body shape. Like the entire fish is just nice and smooth, top line, a little bit of a bust in the female, and then the rear part of the fish, you want it to still be pretty thick. Some fish, especially crown tail fish, so those fish that are super spiky and have the big webbing reduction, sometimes their body just turns into like a little stick at the end. And you definitely don't want that. You want your fish to be strong. They're fighting fish. They should have a really strong, smooth body. And that's the very first thing that I look for. The second thing that I look for is kind of the overall symmetry and shape. That female, I'm looking for in a female kind of like an oval, and I want evenness in all of her fins because she's a crown tail. I want all the webbing reduction to be about the same in the dorsal, the caudal, and the anal. You kind of want it to all be really even, like a very even comb. Some fish, and if this product was working well, I would have added bad examples too. Some of her sisters, for example, don't have any of that webbing reduction in the anal at all, but they have it in the caudal, the tail part. So you want it to be nice and even. Her caudal, her tail is beautiful. Her tail fin is beautiful. You want to look for what we call a half moon, okay? And you want the base of the caudal to be 180 degrees, and then you want the rest of it to be like a perfect half circle. When you look at the fish, you want this perfect half circle to tie into the dorsal, so it's even here at the top, and tie into the anal, so that means it's a rectangular shape at the bottom, and you don't want any gaps all around the fish. So that's the goal, and I think she fulfills pretty much all of those qualities. My one thing with her is her color isn't as good as I would like it. This line that I have, if you go to my website and you look at all of the fish in the CTPK line, they are all metallic bettas. So in real life, it looks like a penny almost, the way a penny reflects and shines. It's like whenever you shine a flashlight on them, the light disperses really beautifully. That's why we call them metallic. And so these guys have copper metallic, which is what she is, kind of that brassy, coppery color. And then it also throws turquoise. The reason I want to breed her to a turquoise is I just prefer turquoise. That's the really bright blue, males that I was looking at. So the thing with this, the thing with turquoise is if you don't keep it in the line, so that means you always have to breed a turquoise every generation, you'll lose that color. Copper is recessive, so that means if you select for only copper fish, the line will stay copper. And so every generation, I have to have a turquoise fish so that it doesn't get lost. So I hope that makes sense. Joop van Esch, so his name is Joop van Esch. He's the one that I'm trying to organize an interview with. He is really amazing, and he has a really great article on metallic bettas. So, okay. Let's see. So, her strengths. She has a really beautiful body. She has really great fins. She has a lot of strengths. When we look at the males, I want a male that is first and foremost aggressive. I like to breed for really, really aggressive fish because that's what they are supposed to be. I like to breed for strong bodies. And the thing that I am missing in this particular line is that I want there to be a lot of webbing reduction. Okay, so let's look at the first male. So yeah, there you can see again, her caudal could be better. Her caudal could be better. Okay, so here's the first male. Right off the bat, you can see he's extremely aggressive. He has got beautiful color. Ideally, I would want that red wash in the anal and his ventral fins. I don't like that. Unfortunately, the female has it too. And I would prefer the metallic to go over the top of his head. If you look at his top line, he's got a kind of a fighter bump. That's harkening back to when they were fighting fish. He's got really strong jaws. Let's go back. He has really strong jaws, and he kind of has the fighter scoop. But honestly, I kind of like it. With the female having such a strong, smooth bow to her body, it will likely balance him out. Some fish might come out fighter-like, but most of them, I will anticipate, will have the smooth bow shape. Or maybe it'll be a mix. It'll probably be a mix, actually, because if you look back in the spawn log, these are siblings, so their parents, the male also had kind of the fighter bump, but the female was extremely smooth. So it's just a quality that's in both of them. So this male again has beautiful even coloration, except for the anal, so the fin at the bottom. If you saw, it had a little bit of a red wash, and we call it a red wash because it's like someone dipped a paintbrush in red and then like washed the bottom anal with it, okay? And also the ventral fin, so those little things in the front. One bad thing is that the more webbing reduction you have for some reason, the longer the anal is. And if you remember back to that very first picture of the ideal CTPK, it was very smooth and a rectangular oval, long oval shape. So I think the female will balance that particular trait out. And I have faith because the parents, the female had very little crowning but a really nice bottom anal. And other fish in this spawn did have a better anal than that fish. So let's see. Yeah, there's a lot of things. Yeah, red wash is really, really hard to get out, Juan. It's really, really difficult. Yeah, LR Brett, or Lucas, yeah, sorry, LR. I always want to just say LR Brett. Yeah, it's it's hard. It's kind of like how for example, dog breeds like German Shepherds and stuff used to be far more they used to be bred for utility, and a lot of them still are, you know, big working dogs. And the bulldog used to be bred for utility. But now they've moved towards elegance or towards a particular aesthetic. And that's kind of how the Betta world has gone. But I kind of like the fighter look. So, yeah, Jackie, I like it. So, you know what? I'm going to breed what I like. So, let's see. Let's start this again. So, that's male 1. Male 2, unfortunately, has a huge tumor on his side. Yeah, right there on the right side. Big, big tumor that immediately disqualifies him, unfortunately, even though he has the best color. No red wash whatsoever. Beautiful, solid color over the top of his face mostly. And a nice, tight anal fin. Not as much webbing reduction, though, so that's another strike. Big, smooth body. You can see that right here when he's pausing. Big, smooth body. Very strong from the tip of his nose to the base of his tail. Great fish in that respect. You may think back. So him, if you remember looking at the caudal, the rays kind of bunched. He actually had 4 rays sticking out in every one. You can go back and look at it. So, whereas the turquoise and the female only have 2 rays. So that means here's like 1 ray, and then it splits into 2. And those are the spikes that go out. And I much prefer the 2-ray split. He had a 4-way split, so it's like this, okay? So this repeating motif like that. It makes it look heavier to me. It's not as nice to me. So that is a strike against him as well. Unfortunately, it does seem like the better metallic color Betta has, like the more, we call it coverage, the more coverage over the face, the deeper the metallic is, because on a really good metallic Betta, it really does look like they're cut out of metal. The better the metallic color, the more likely they are to get tumors. And that is why I wait until they're like 8 months old, 9 months old to spawn. That tumor came out when he was about 6 months. And some people breed before that. And, you know, it's like you don't know if a fish is going to develop a tumor for a while. Yeah, we were too. It's really interesting, right, to see tumors like that. So, unfortunately, it is a thing that happens. Okay, let's start this again. So, okay, male 3. The one thing that sticks out, and a lot of people see it but can't place their finger on it, is that his caudal, okay, that's male 4 for a little bit, but the caudal on male 3 is much smaller than it should be. His body proportions are off. So there again, you can see how much shorter the caudal is. It should be almost twice the size because he has a huge broad dorsal. So that means the base of his dorsal is really broad, which is a beautiful trait. I like it a lot. But yeah, his caudal is just way too small. That doesn't mean he's unusable. Again, beautiful, beautiful body, beautiful color, no red wash. Just a gorgeous fish in all respects, really. But because his caudal is short, it just throws off his entire balance. Now, if you have a female with a beautiful D-shaped caudal, I would breed him. Like, he has lots of things going for him. Great webbing reduction, the single split rays, most of all, that beautiful clean color. Like, he is definitely a workable fish. And the great body, too. So it's difficult. Like, he would be great if your female is, like, has a really thin body but a great caudal. They could balance each other out. Sometimes the best show fish are not the best breeder fish. He has particular building blocks, and if you combine him with the right female, they could come out with some great fish. If you go back again to the spawn logs, so this spawn that these siblings are from was from 2 lines that I was keeping. One I was breeding for form only, like that single ray, or those basically the ray that splits only into 2. And then for the webbing reduction, The other line, I was breeding specifically for the bigger body and for the beautiful color. And I spawned those guys, I think, twice, just keeping them separate. And then I finally combined them. And this was the best spawn by far because it combined all of those building blocks to create fish that had what I wanted. So I think everyone was doing an awesome job analyzing the males by themselves. And that's great whenever you're at a show and you're a judge and you're seeing those fish on the bench. But this is completely different. This is judging fish to match them and create a, good potential offspring. You have to look at the fish differently on the bench, as we say at the judge, when you're judging at a show, and then at home whenever you're selecting them to breed. Okay. Let's see. Do we have a couple questions that are related? Okay. It's super cool whenever you guys talk about other stuff too. Not related to the stream. Super fine with me. Okay, so nice sashimi. Making a video right now. I'm buying shrimp from Lucas. That's great. Okay, Andrew, I'm going to look into the pair. I don't have a 10-gallon right now. Bigger body. So it depends. So Andrew's asking, so is a bigger body more desirable, basically? So it depends on which organization or which standard you're breeding for. I kind of like breed towards both. Honestly, I breed what I like. I'm a judge for the International Betta Congress, and I'm really, really good friends with people in Bettas for All. Unfortunately, they're in Europe, so I can't go to any of their shows, or very rarely. So Bettas for All really puts much, much more emphasis on a stout body, like a big body. And they put a lot, and overall, like form, conformation, the physical traits of the fish. IBC puts a lot more, puts more weight, not a lot more weight, but puts more weight on the color. It's in the IBC, a fish that doesn't have as good of a body, but has really good color and overall form will, will not be dinged as much as it would in B4A. So they're very slightly different. A fish that is proportionate would do well at both shows. There's just slightly more desirability for the thicker body in B4A, and then more, whatchamacallit, greater consideration of color in the IBC. Both standards are perfectly fine. I personally like a stouter body. I even like the fighter bump, which both organizations don't really like because it's kind of like a throwback, Oh, ouch. Whenever a dog, whenever a dog breed is thrown back and it looks like its ancestors. I mean, that fighter bump, and if you notice back on male 1, the fighter bump is also paired with a much larger jaw. He actually has a third of a larger jaw than his brothers and sisters. And I mean, that's what you want. Like when he bites, it hurts. Okay. So he's back to the old fighter style. All right. Hey, Eric. Hey, Aiden. Thanks for joining us. Okay. Hey, Mark's Arc. Let's see. Do you judge on scale quality like koi? Yes. You want the scales to be really nice and smooth. You don't want any defects. Actually, I guess the great grandmother of these fish, the one of the females that I originally brought back from Germany to start this line, I got her super cheap because she did have scale damage on the side of her body. There is a gene, it's not as common now, called, people were calling it X factor and stuff, where there was a lot of irregularity in the scales and the fish generally didn't do well. It was associated with rosetail. Again, you can look on Youp's site for that. And so that was, I mean, it was bad. The fish were really bad off. And a big part of that was the scales that that were highly irregular, and it affected the entire fish. It was like almost a symptom of the, the entire fish was poorly. Let's just say that. However, this fish that I got, the female that I brought back, I got her because of the beautiful color. Her body conformation was pretty good. It's gotten better now in the offspring. But yeah, she had scale damage, and it looked like to me that it was from fighting between siblings, not genetic, and I turned out to be right. It was just scale damage. So you definitely look at the scale quality whenever you are judging fish. So that's a great question. Ruru 2, oh yeah, and Jamie asked about the scale quality. Ruru 2, are there any red and white bettas like a Kohaku koi? You mean like the pattern? There are definitely, there are people that are starting to breed more towards koi bettas. And it's like a type of marble. So they have that patterning like a koi, really. And actually, Bettas for All has their show at the same time and site as this huge koi show. And they actually, the last show they had certified koi judges come over to the Betta show and judge them like koi. They were like looking down at the fish and like judging them on their proportion and color from the top of the fish, just like a koi. It was so cool. So cool. So yeah, they are currently trying to breed towards that kind of high contrast color, which includes red and white fish. And who knows if the pattern will be fixed. That means that it won't change, that it will be permanent. That kind of blotchy pattern that we call marble tends to be very transient. It changes a lot over time. So a fish might look one way one day, and then 3 days later it'll look completely different. So we will see if the patterns can be fixed. Okay, I'm going to do the last male, and then I'll come back to the questions. Okay, so the last male, this guy, I think, would do best at a show. He has really, really good symmetry and form, a nice long body, so and his fins are in proportion with his body, unlike male 3, and unlike male 1, which had a longer bottom fin. I don't like his attitude. Like, that immediately struck me. He is just not as aggressive. He displays, but he's not a fighter. But, however, if you look in the profile right here, you can see he does have the ideal body shape and fin conformation that you want in the ideal end CTPK. If I had room, and I probably will, hopefully, spawn both male 1 and male 4. So male 4 is the best show fish here, but my goal, now I'm going to stop this. My goal in this next spawn is to increase the webbing reduction. I want more webbing reduction, and the male that is going to give it to me is probably male 1. Out of all the fish that I have, it's probably male 1. Because the female has a beautiful smooth top line and has a better 180-degree caudal, I think that will go into the next spawn. But my main goal with this one is to get the better webbing reduction. Male 4, I want to do second. As soon as I have an empty tank, a second empty tank, I'm going to throw them in with the same female. Same female, male 4, and he's just really balanced, and I would hope that his offspring would be similarly balanced, have the nice long smooth body, proportioned fins, but it is unlikely that his the webbing reduction would increase. Or maybe it will. So we'll see. So Jamie is asking, what do you mean by webbing reduction? So let me start this again. Oh, man. Okay, so these fish don't have smooth edges, okay? They have, like, it looks like spikes. And some people call them fin extensions, but that's not really true. The rays of the fin are the same length as a fish that has smooth edges. What happened is that the webbing in between each ray has been reduced. It's not as long, and it doesn't create the smooth edge. It's been reduced back so that it does form the crowning. That's why we call it a crown tail. Juan, let go of the red wash. So if you noticed, some of the, actually a good proportion of the brothers and sisters did not have red wash. So red wash, the recessive form of it underneath that, is yellow. And so a lot of the siblings don't have red wash. So that means there's a high probability that all of them are carrying that recessive part. Unfortunately, red is dominant, so if they have that, it's going to show. But there's a good chance that we'll get a lot of offspring that don't have the red wash. It really doesn't bother me. The female has some slight red wash. Let's see. It's already past the female. Yeah. I'm not bothered by it very much. So, because it is a recessive trait. In the future, when I start turning my eye towards color again, of course you want to try and breed for both. That's why you pick males and females that kind of match and compensate for one another. And eventually I'm going to hit the red wash as hard as I can. But for now, I want to improve the form, and the first thing that I think will go towards improving the form, the two main things are increasing webbing reduction and then getting the shorter anal. Although male 1 has a longer anal, he has better webbing reduction, and I believe that the female's overall form, she has that really nice rectangular short anal fin, will balance out the male. That's what I hope. So that's why I'm going to breed them first. Let's see. I love all the males. I really wish male 2 hadn't gotten a tumor. But it just happens. We'll see where the future goes with tumors and metallic bettas. A lot of the times when a trait first comes out, they're super, super inbred, right? Because they just breed in and in and in order to fix the trait. And then you get a lot of other undesirable traits that get carried in with it. And copper bettas, when did they come out? They came out, I'd say like 4 years ago, 5 years ago, so it's still relatively new. And so the more people that have metallic bettas, the more we can breed towards healthy fish again. Okay. Ruru too, I love it. They do look like Mortal Kombat fans. I love it. It's like they could like spike someone. I also like to think that they look like punk rockers, like with the, they look like they have a mohawk. I really love them. And I used to love breeding long fin crown tails. Like my very first project, the one that got me into betta breeding, was to create a double tail crown tail. If you go to my website, I worked with them a lot. That was the beginning. The only problem with long fin crown tails is that their rays, they're long, beautiful rays. A lot of them, as soon as you jar them, the rays crinkle up like curly fries. And it's horrible because you spend all this time, these males keep getting beautiful, and then you jar them, and then it just was so frustrating because all the rays would just crinkle up. The crown tail placots with their shorter fins and rays, that almost never happens. I think I've had one male do it. All the others have beautiful, straight, strong, short rays. So that's why I breed the short fin version. And of course, because they look like Mortal Kombat Katana fans. Let's see. Juan, I know. It'll get there. It'll get there. I have faith that the red wash will eventually go away. So, how many months does it take from mating to baby being adult size or color? Now, Ruru too, that super depends on the breeder, the genetics, nature, nurture, all that. Like, for example, these CTPKs are extremely vigorous and they tend to grow fast for me. My fish grow slowly. My fish don't reach sexual maturity until like 4 months, sometimes 4.5. And sometimes you jar them and then they all decide they're boys, even though you think you're jarring females. That's in itself is frustrating. The generation before this, I jarred like, over a dozen fish, and every single one of them decided to turn into a male at 4.5 months old, even though I could have sworn they were female. And I only got one female, which was scary because I wasn't sure if she would breed and all that. You always want backups. Actually, one of the females, I showed her as a female. She won as a female. She won first place. Someone bought her in the auction to breed with his crown-tail plakat. The damn thing turned into a male as soon as he got her home. I don't know. It just... We can talk about sex determination in bettas because it is incredibly, endlessly interesting. But yeah, it can totally depend. The more water changes you do, they grow faster. I don't like doing water changes. So, but my fish do fine. And then if you power feed them, I feed a lot of live food. So I think that helps my fish grow really well. And a good solid, like a good pellet food really helps them as well. So water changes, keep them warm, keep them at 80 degrees, big tank, just good water quality and good food, and they will grow much faster. Some people, like some Asian breeders, are like, they can get their fish to, sexual maturity and breeding at like 2 months. It's crazy. 6-8 weeks and they're ready to go. So again, would you want to spawn that young? Maybe. I like to let them fully mature. But yeah, it totally changes from breeder to breeder. There's a breeder in the IBC, and honestly, I don't know how she does it, but her fish are just big and beautiful within like 2.5 months. So it really depends. And Jamie, next time I see a Mohawk guy, I'm gonna compliment him on his webbing reduction. He'll be like, "Say what?" I know my students would be like, "Hold up, what you saying?" What's that mean, bro? Is that what do they say? Is that a diss? They got all these weird phrases. Like, apparently, instead of saying "that's awesome," like my generation is "that's awesome," they say "that's lit." I kind of like it. Maybe I'll use it. That's lit. Okay. Let's see. Is there a benefit to crown tail versus half moon or rose tail, or is it just a personal preference? For me, it's a personal preference. And it's interesting to see it at shows. Some judges hate my crown tail placats. They think that they're just not, they're so far away from the ideal, which, I mean, they are. It's a very new form, and it's going to take a long time for the form to get there. But yeah, they really hate them. Whereas other people really like them, and then they place well at those shows. Let's see. The benefit to crown tail versus half moon or rose tail. I mean, it's pretty much preference. I would love to do a half moon spawn someday. Just those really long, big fins. For me, half moons get heavy, and sometimes they lose condition or their fins start to like get too heavy for them to swim. Sometimes they have trouble spawning because they have such big finnage. They're drop dead gorgeous, but sometimes past a certain age, they start to look more worn down and not as show ready. Whereas a placotte, you can show until the end of its life. Like they're never going to lose their vitality. So anyway, that's just my take. Moon River Bettas or Jackie could probably chime in because she's a big half moon breeder. Although she's been having some really good placottes lately. So she's very experienced with half moons. Me, not so much. I don't think I've ever had a half moon spawn, to be honest. And then Rosetail's like a newer form as well. Like I referenced before, Rosetail was associated with some disturbing genetic disorder like traits. However, it is getting better. And if you want to breed for it, then you can breed for it. Just, do just like the metallic breeders are doing and try and keep the fish healthy by selecting for healthy fish. So, Omar, what is a placotte? It just means short fins. So, in general, I think the placottes do end up having a bigger body than half moons. Depends on the size of the half moon, but it seems like to me they have larger, more buff bodies, if you will, more stout bodies than their half moon cousins. But yeah, placotte just means short fins. And when we say half moon, they have really long fins. And it's endlessly confusing because you can have a placotte with a half moon caudal. All half moon means is this D-shaped caudal that we love so much. That's the half moon, okay? Trying to make it straight. There you go. That's the half moon. You can have a half moon placotte because it has short fins but a half moon shape, or you can just have a half moon because wow, it's really confusing to go backwards from the screen. Let's see. You can have a big long fin half moon, and then we just call those half moons. Does anyone breed plecos? I wish I could breed plecos, but I don't have big enough tanks. I would love to have a huge colony of bristlenose plecos. I think those guys are the coolest. Let's see. IDK, but autocorrect keeps on correcting bettas to better. Mine corrects it to BETAS, like alpha, beta, gamma. So, hold on. I've heard some breeders call crown-tail placottes comb-tail. Is that even a thing? Okay, so there's some controversy, and in the end, it's just a name. But from what I believe, crown-tail is just more webbing reduction than comb-tail. Comb-tail is just a slight webbing reduction around. And a lot of my early fish, especially if you look at my crown-tail, double-tail placotte spawns, I found basically that the extreme webbing reduction, the crown tail, is basically just one allele or two alleles. It seems like I could get the more extreme form of webbing reduction in only 2 generations. I thought it was going to take longer. I thought it would be a more gradual webbing reduction. But when I did the first spawn, I spawned a smooth tail fish to a extreme crown tail fish. Almost all of the offspring had the so-called comb tail, which is the really slight webbing reduction. It's pretty, I like it, but it's only really slight webbing reduction. And then when I spawned those together for the F2, about a quarter of the progeny from that spawn actually had the extreme webbing reduction. Half of them, about half, had the slight combing, and then some of them were smoother than others. So there was some variation there. But that highly argues that it's a recessive trait. So, not recessive. It's like co-dominant, honestly, because the combing seems like it's like one extreme webbing reduction fish spawned with a smooth fish that has absolutely no webbing reduction, and then they're both expressed. So that's what codominant kind of means, is they're both expressed. Thus you get the slight combing, but it's neither the extreme webbing reduction or the smooth fin. I hope that makes sense. Maybe can ask some clarifying questions. Let's see. Hello guys, first time on my live stream. Oh no, there went the chat. Oh boy, there went the chat. Oh, going back up. Oh, Charles Fish Tanks, hey, first time dropping by, thanks. Okay, Ruru 2, 4 months sounds fast. I don't want fish that sexually mature fast. Usually means they have a shorter lifespan. Yeah, there are ways you can slow it down. You can reduce the temperature slightly. So instead of keeping them at like 80 degrees, you can keep them a little cooler. The fish that I'm not actively breeding, I keep them closer to room temperature at like 73, 74. But to be primed, really breeding, really active, really going, they really like to be at 80 degrees. But you can lower the temperature and feed them less in order to increase their lifespan and make them just grow more slowly. Life with pets. What live foods do you feed? I mainly feed grindleworms and whiteworms, and I have videos on how I culture them. I'm just really good with grindleworms and whiteworms. There are a lot of high protein, high fat foods, and they're just really easy for me to culture. I would love to have Daphnia, but you know, I was thinking of trying Daphnia on the fire escape in like a big tank or something. One, I don't want my neighbors to think that I'm gonna crash down our rickety fire escape because we live in such an old building. And then two, what space I do have for buckets out there, I want to keep for collecting rainwater because I have such finicky blackwater fish back there that do much better in rainwater than tap water, even though I can use super soft San Francisco water here. So when my friends with gigantic ponds in their backyard, I'm so jealous. When they bring Daphnia, I love feeding Daphnia. So, but for me, grindleworms and whiteworms are really easy to culture, and I find that they get the fish growing really fast. And they're great food. Oh yeah, and I want to try fruit flies soon. Actually, I really want my students to do like a genetics unit with fruit flies, which would be awesome because then I could just take all of the fruit flies that don't, that are not what they need for their genetic experiments and then feed them to my fish. But I'm going to have to do that after this year, I think. So Mackenzie Ferguson, what's your favorite pellet food brand? Let me grab it. Okay. So this is my favorite. Okay. Okay. This is my favorite. I got it when I was in Germany. Dr. Baslier Biofish Food. Okay. It's got extremely limited distribution outside of Europe. It is so hard to find outside of Europe, but this stuff is amazing, and I learned about it from my betta breeding friends in Europe. Oh, did it freeze? I don't know why it froze. There we go. Okay. So I learned about it from my betta friends in Europe, and it's just such a good food. When I started feeding it, my fish just started growing like crazy. It's like a really good size whenever you get this size, which says it's for fish that are about a centimeter long. And just the fish love it. Even fish that don't like to eat pellet food normally go crazy for this stuff. And I just noticed that my fish got bulkier bodies and grew a lot faster with this Baslier Biofish food. There was one store in the US that I found did sell it for like a couple months on Amazon, and I did get a cup like one another can cuz that's all they had in stock. It was Professional Fish Keepers, but then they were banned from Amazon. I actually called the store to see if they still carried it, and they said that they do. So I'm going to order more of them, more of it soon. So, Corey, how often do you change water in the jars? I change water in the jars, depends, like every 2 weeks, maybe longer. See, when I add a lot of Indian almond leaf in our extremely soft water, it crashes the pH down and it actually neutralizes ammonia into a non toxic form. And it actually imitates a lot of the water conditions that are in the wild. And you might argue with that, but that's what I do, and the fish are fine. So, geez. Is it stopped? Well, dang. Just lost a lot of people. Hmm. That's weird. Well, maybe that's a sign I should stop because it is now freezing occasionally, and everyone says that, huh, interesting. Um, Darn. Yeah, it's still freezing for me too, on even on my end. So, okay, I think I'm gonna call it a night. Um, yeah, that's so weird. I don't know why my computer is messing up so much. I think it's time for a new computer. Um, so yeah, I think I'm gonna call it a night. I'm like, I'm stuck in a. Yeah. Anyway, that's weird. Huh. Uh. Okay. Sorry. I will have another talk another day. So, and I can just open it up. It seems like a lot of people have a lot of good questions. So I will do another live stream sometime soon. So anyway, good night, everyone. Happy New Year. Bye. It keeps going back and forth. So I think I'm gonna call it a night. It's just it keeps freezing. So um, I'm going to call it a night. Yeah, I'll do another one soon. I don't know. It seems like I decide to do one of these things whenever. So I'm just so busy. But I love my students. I can't put them on the back burner too much. So, oh yeah, Lucas, that would be awesome. Um, yeah, dude, I want to try the Google Hangout interview thing. That would be so cool. I want to try that. But let's see. Yeah, it wow, it keeps being really weird on my end too. So down equals done. Okay, guys, I am officially saying good night. I hope all of you have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. If you're in California, don't get rained out. Apparently, there are flood warnings all over California. Great for fish spawning inside, but be safe. Okay, so good night, guys.